All Chinese cars are basically the same. Think about this. There's an SUV, it's mid-sized, 4.5 meters long. It's got a 60 kilowatt hour battery with which it can drive around 450 kilometers according to the WLTP cycle, and it costs around 40,000 euros. I could be talking about any of 100 typical Chinese cars. And then there's this. This is the brand new XPENG P7 Plus, and it's just arrived here in Europe. If you think about it, there are two different ways we can try to travel comfortably in an electric car. We can have a massive battery in a very efficient car, and we can go really far, and then we can charge it up a bit, and then we can get to our destination. Or you can do what XPENG are trying to do. You can have a car which is still relatively efficient, and then have a super fast charging. This car charges at 448 kilowatts, and it's got a battery which is not the biggest one in the industry, just 73 kilowatt hours, because it's an LFP, lithium iron phosphate battery. So in order to not have a super heavy car, it's a little bit smaller, but still super fast charging. Now today we're test driving it here in lovely Spain. We're in Barcelona. We'll be driving this around the mountains, around the highways, and we'll try that new super fast charging in the XPENG P7 Plus. So let's drive around in lovely sunny Spain in the brand new P7 Plus, because it is totally electric. So the P7 Plus, and hey, let's just talk about the naming. We already know the P7, which is a vehicle that's been on the market here for quite some years. It's completely different. This one's got a different architecture. It's 800 volts and the P7 is 400 volts, and it's sort of the older version. There will be a new version of the P7 called the P7 Next. This is the P7 Plus. And between the Next and the Plus, it's a completely different car. This is a quite large sedan. It's 5 meters and 7 centimeters long. And more than that, it's quite wide as well. It's 1.94 meters wide. So it's good for these open roads, but it might not be the most easy of cars to drive around tight corners in Barcelona. The front part is quite aggressive, quite sporty. We've got this light beam that goes across the entire car, which is present on, I believe, all of the XPENG models we've got in Europe at least. But in this one, you can put it like extra bright, and the option is called lightsaber. Maybe that's a bit overdoing it. You got the muscular wheel arches, which you can see from the inside. It feels like you're driving a Porsche. You got camera in the front, radar here, and you got active aerodynamics. So right now they're opening, sucking in extra air to cool down the battery. We just came here driving some windy roads to get here, so there's probably quite a lot of heat going through the car right now. I think it looks fantastic, and I like the fact that XPENG now has its own identity. It's not just a generic Chinese car. Now you can definitely tell what car this is. You won't confuse it with any other.
The P7 Plus will be available in 3 trims, starting around 45,000 euros, with the one in the video coming out to around roughly 50,000 euros, and then the performance version will be another 5,000 euros on top of that. Prices may vary depending on your local region, and I'm sure there will be government incentives and dealer discounts as well.
So one of the most impressive things about this car is the massive amount of space inside it. Well, I guess it's obvious since it is a big car. However, it's also a 5-door saloon, so you can easily access and put a, I don't know, fridge or 2 or 3 dead bodies in here. Oh, you could probably fit 5 if you hack them up a bit. Absolutely cavernous. It's huge in here. You got 571 liters, and you got an extra bit of space down here for your cables and stuff. So you got plenty of space in the back, and if you want, you can tilt down the seats, so you got even more space. It is funny though, I don't have anything to cover it up here, so it is completely open. Now let's see if there's a frunk on this thing as well. So in order to get into the front part of the car, gotta come down here, we gotta find this lever, and we gotta pull it twice, which means that we now have access. There you go. I'll open it from the side and show you nothing. It's just a plastic cover. There's nothing you can do here. Right, and to close it, you have to actually drop it from a certain height. Yep. I really like the design of the car, especially how the black roof makes everything look slimmer, faster and more streamlined. This car's full of little details. Like, for example, if you just close the door slightly like that, the car will hook it and pull it in. You don't need to slam it.
If you want to stay up to date with XPENG and their advanced driving systems, now would be a good time to subscribe, as we will, within the next couple of weeks, travel to China to test drive their fully autonomous cars.
Another detail is that I've got a speaker inside the headrest, which is really nice. Gives me a private conversation if I need to. And if the GPS tells me to turn left and I miss the exit, my wife won't tell me off, because she hasn't heard the instructions. This car has what is perhaps a perfect layout for an electric vehicle. We've got a massive screen in the middle, got a tiny screen behind the steering wheel, just very small with the absolute minimum of information we need, speed, range, and legal speed limit. Then we have a heads-up display, and this heads-up display is absolutely excellent. It shows us all sorts of information depending on context. I can even pull up the rear view camera on the heads-up display. I've never seen that before. It's excellent, loads of information there, basic information behind the steering wheel, and all your config and music and whatever you want on the big screen in the middle. But in fact, between that screen I've got here and the heads-up display, I never really need to look at the main screen. I don't need the speed there, and that I can perfectly well do with just what's behind the steering wheel. In fact, if I want to do something here on the screen, this is highly configurable. So I can like push things around. I can divide it this way or that way. I can add applications to it. I can customize what's in the menu bar down here at the bottom. I can also, if I want to, just do that and get quick access to some of the most used functions here. In fact, I can customize the steering wheel itself. There's a custom steering wheel button right here. There are no other buttons or anything, in fact, in the middle here, just two phone chargers, cup holders, and a bit of space beneath the armrest. I've also got down below here, I've got a little extra space and a couple of USB ports just to charge up some devices that might not have any wireless charging capability. This steering wheel is not my favorite bit. Honestly, it's not the prettiest, most sporty and modern. It just looks very big with these two spokes. I have liked something a little bit more sporty and elegant and minimalist, perhaps. But I do like the amount of buttons and the way they're laid out. So I've got two scroll wheels, which are contextual. So for example, right now I can change the temperature, but if I'm using, say, for example, the autopilot, I can use it to change my speed. It's not called autopilot, it's called XPilot. Sorry, XPENG. Then we have these buttons here to go back and forth or to change the follow distance. We've got a microphone for voice commands, and we got this here, which is a customizable button, which apparently they've linked to opening the boot. Very nice, very nice. Now, all the materials in here are absolutely first class, high quality. The only hard plastics I can find is this thing here in the middle, but you know, it looks like brushed aluminium. So even that is nice. The rest is all soft to the touch. It's aluminium, it's wood. Love it. Very nicely done, XPENG. Oh, there's one more tech feature in here I haven't told you about. Up here we have the rear view mirror, and it can be either a rear view mirror or a rear view screen using the camera I have in the back. So if I just change it to a rear view mirror, the actual window in the back is quite small. So I do prefer to actually use the camera. I get a lot more visibility there. However, it can be a little bit harder to judge distances when you're not used to it. I've got massaging seats, I've got ventilated seats, I've got voice activated everything. This is really, really a nice package. All together, it's wonderful. I've also got some really interesting things I can do on the screen. So XCombo is a macro system. So I can load up macros from my mobile phone to the car so that, say, for example, when I come home late at night, it does something with the temperature and turns on the lights and whatever, or at a certain point in time it can change the interior lighting, the drive mode, etc. So XCombos are macros I can program in and use to do loads of different things. Now the App Store here is not very populated. There are currently 5 apps you can download there, but take into account that this car is new on the market here in Europe at least, and I'm sure there'll be more. The G6 and G9 has got a ton of different apps already available to them, and you can even install TikTok if you want to use that in a car. Why not? So yeah, very well laid out. I mean, it probably couldn't be better. Small screen, heads-up display, big screen, and a rear view mirror with another screen in it. Right, so we're in the back of the P7 Plus, and clearly this is a very, very large vehicle, a very long vehicle. I'm 6'4", 1.90 m, and look at all the space I've got here. And I've got the seat pushed very far back. I've got some headroom, not a ton, and I can put up my headrest so I can be really comfortable. And if I really want to relax here in the back seat, I can actually use this button here, and I can recline my seat backwards, and then I can just, snooze a bit here. If I want to be extra, even more comfortable, I can use the screen in the middle to turn on ventilated seats. So if it's on a hot day, and it very often is here, I can just do that. And if it's cold, I can turn on seat heating in the back. How about that? That is pretty cool. But let me just sit this thing back up again. All right, there we are. Now, in the middle, I can put this bit down here, and I've got place for holding 2 mobile phones. Never quite sure what's the point of these, but many cars have them. Do you often put your phone there and then you can sit there and tab on them because you're too lazy to hold it in your left hand? I don't know. You got space for 2 Coca-Colas, you got 1 USB-C plug down there, and that's it. The screen, by the way, you can manage something. Oh, that's it, that's it. That's not it at all. I've got massaging rear seats. Are you kidding me? That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, don't see that many cars around here. Yeah, we're just going to leave that on and be here for a while. I can also change the music. On the main screen, I can also move the seat over there. How about that? I can even fold it if I want to. It's just fantastic. I love it. Of course, this only works if there's nobody sitting in that seat. On this seat over there, I've got this thing here, which is a little table for my laptop or for my lunch. Much better, much more sturdy than what you get in a typical airplane. However, if I'm sitting here, I get nothing. I don't even have a pocket to put my stuff into. It's just nothing. This gets all the fun bits. This gets none of that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna lean back, get a massage. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Highway driving the P7 Plus, it is an extremely comfortable vehicle. You can really tell that there's 3 meters between the wheels, so it just cruises along. This is perfect for Autobahn, except that you can only go maximum 200 kilometers an hour, which for me is all right, but I'm not sure the Germans would agree with that. In my headrest, I've got a speaker for GPS guidance, etc. And I've got a massive heads-up display, which really, really helps me guide me and tells me what the speed limit is, where I need to go. It even shows all the ADAS systems on there. I think it's the first time I've seen such a complete heads-up display. I like it because even if my co-pilot is fiddling around with the screen, I don't lose navigation. I can still see it up there. It's really, really useful. It's very bright. It's very high definition. It looks really good. I've got a secondary minor screen down here. So all in all, I've got a really nice setup. I've got a big screen in the middle, heads-up display, and just the bare essentials of information down on the screen below me. I really like this setup. The XPENG P7 is also well-equipped standard, because you can't add extras on it and all that. It's just, here's the car. So it comes standard with massaging seats, ventilated seat, heated steering wheel, the heads-up display, and all the other gadgets is just included, and it's really nice. It's even got all the software packages pre-installed and ready for you to use. So you don't have to pay extra for XPilot or, the Tesla equivalent once that'll be allowed. In fact, this has the Turing chip, which is their high-performance self-driving chipset, which in theory will enable us to, with a software update in the future, just have complete driving automated by the car. Now today we're just having a first look at the car, testing it a bit. Tomorrow we're going to do some actual highway driving where we're going to see how much range can we get out of the car, and then we're going to do an actual charging test, which is going to be really interesting. This car uses an 800-volt architecture and can charge at 400 and, I believe, 48 kilowatts in theory. So next to where we are, or close to where we are, there's a 400 kilowatt charger. Not quite 448, but still, it should still give us a pretty good idea about how much we need to stop for charging when you are traveling. Now, there's one thing I dislike about this, and it is that the driver assistance, or the software that helps you to keep you in your lane and all that, is incredibly intrusive. I can hardly drive this car myself. There's always like a red light and something beeping at me. But XPENG has assured us that this is a pre-production model. Once it gets actually to production in Europe and delivered to customers, they'll take care of that, so it's not so super annoying. We've got X-Pilot. It works just like the Tesla Autopilot. If I pull down on this lever twice, it takes care of the steering and the pedals, and it'll just take me to wherever I'm going. And it can also change lanes. So if I put on the indicator, it'll find a spot, step on the continuous line and change. So it did initiate the maneuver just before a continuous line. But otherwise I probably wouldn't have done it. Hey, here's a funny thing. In Spain, you're not supposed to be overtaking on the right, yet the car does that. It should actually detect the car over there and stay behind it. But it doesn't care, it just overtakes it anyway. That is normal driver behavior, but it's strictly not the most legal of driving behaviors. Route planning, one of the most important features in an EV for traveling. We need to see if it can plan a route, if it can add charging stations, and what information it's going to give us about the charging station. So I'm going to go from here, where I am in Barcelona, to, let's say, a posh place here next to me. 500 kilometers away from here. Let's go to Monaco. Right, so it's 700 kilometers of a drive. I won't get there because I've only got 283 kilometers on the battery. So now it's going to search for charging stations en route. And as you can see, it's done it perfectly. It's selected a route, it's added 2 charging stops, and it's optimized for charging time. So I'll get to the Electra charging station with 14% of battery, and I need to charge up to 77, which is the optimum charging with the speed of the charger and everything taken into account. And then I have to drive another 300 kilometers and get to a Shell charging station where I have to be stopped for 16 minutes, and then I'll get to Monaco with 25% of battery. Perfect. Gives me all of the information I need to know, and this, really helps you when you're traveling in an EV. You know you'll get there. You know there'll be a charger. Yeah.
We've just arrived at the charger after about 54 kilometers on the motorway, averaging 18 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. At this efficiency, and with roughly 70 plus kilowatt hours usable, real highway range is around 400 kilometers driving at a normal pace. We're charging at a fastened station. Price is clearly displayed, which is great. The car is large, about 5 meters, so maneuvering isn't easy, but the cameras help a lot. We arrive with 21% battery, which should allow strong charging speeds. Plugging in and starting the session, charging ramps up quickly, 350 kilowatts, then peaks around 370 to 374 kilowatts. That's extremely high, especially starting above 20% state of charge. After 6 minutes, we're already at 60%, meaning a 40% increase in just a few minutes. The charging curve is very structured. Peak power early on, then gradual step downs around 30%, 50%, 60%, and so on, dropping roughly 50 kilowatts each step. Even at 70%, the car is still charging at around 250 kilowatts. At 80%, it's still close to 200 kilowatts, which is exceptional. From 20% to 80% takes about 11 minutes, and it's still pulling around 140 kilowatts beyond that. This performance is possible thanks to the 800-volt architecture, which reduces heat in the cables and allows higher sustained charging power. For long-distance EV travel, this is clearly the direction. 800-volt systems and ultra-fast charging around 400 kilowatts. Charging stops become so short that waiting is no longer an issue. 10 minutes is enough. The charging performance here is outstanding, especially considering it uses an LFP battery.
But nothing in this world is perfect. So what can we criticize and what could be improved about the P7 Plus? I have 3 things. First of all, the software and the ADAS systems are very intrusive. They are annoying when you're driving and they push you around. You feel like you're fighting the car more than driving it. However, XPENG promise that they will change this and they will fix this for the final release of the car. And honestly, I believe them, because the G6 and the G9 have very good ADAS systems and they're not as intrusive as we have seen here in these days on the P7 Plus. Secondly, the sound system is not quite up to the standards of what I would expect from a big luxurious sedan like this one. Fastback with lots of speakers. The sound is a bit scratchy, the high tones are a bit too aggressive, and the total volume of sound is just not very loud. The final thing I'd like to see improved on this car is that at very low speeds, the pedestrian warning sound is quite loud and it sounds way too much like an ice cream van. But at the end of the day, those are minor details, and I think that the P7 Plus is probably one of the absolutely best electric cars you can buy on the market right now. I'm pretty happy in here. I could drive to the end of the world in this car.